What is your biggest regret? My wife and I have been together for 10 years, 5 of them married. We met in college. I transferred as a sophomore and knew no one besides my roommate. She was a junior and had just rescued a 2-month-old pit bull mix. Growing up, my family always had dogs. So this instantly made me want to get to know her, as I was homesick already and it felt like home to me having a dog there. One night, sitting on my balcony, I finally had the courage to yell, "Pretty dog," to which she smiled and said, "Thanks." She asked if I wanted to come meet him. I ran down as fast as I could. Fast forward, she quickly moves in and we start dating. Although we had moments of arguing and fighting, I knew she was the one. She graduated and got a job back home, so I joined her at her parents' house since the commute wasn't bad. Her parents were much different than mine growing up. At first, I couldn't imagine living with my then girlfriend's parents, but I loved this girl and so I decided to try it. We lived there for 2 years and it was the best 2 years of my life. I grew up with my dad who was always gone, so to have both parents around and so happy to see me was such pure joy. We did everything together with them. They watched our dog when we went on vacation, and we took care of the house when they went on vacation. We looked out after each other, it was like we were a family. I proposed in December of 2016. The second happiest day of my life. I sent her to get her nails and hair done earlier that day. I picked her up, drove up to our farm, grabbed the biggest tractor, and drove to the lighthouse nearby. It was snowing and so magical. Then we went back to my parents' house where I hired a chef to cook a private 3-course meal. What was the best day of my life, you ask? Of course, my wedding day. It was so absolutely magical that I still cry in happiness to this day. Seeing my absolutely gorgeous wife walking down the beach with her dad while I was sobbing like a baby. Her face was so beautiful and her dress was so meticulously crafted, I couldn't stop smiling. All our friends and family were having the most amazing time of our lives that night. It was truly the happiest day I have ever had. We moved right before the wedding to our own place, so you could say we started adulting. We had just got our golden doodle, who quickly became my little girl. Both brother and sister were so happy, everything was like a fairy tale. What went wrong? Me. It was me the whole time. Growing up, I was always alone, having new stepmoms come in and out of my life, constantly being told I wasn't good enough, and never feeling true happiness. I pushed people away because I thought there was no way anyone would actually want to get to know me. So I started to push my wife away, thinking she was going to leave at any second. Telling her to get away from me like everyone else. She didn't listen but only loved me harder. Fast forward to the last year, still feeling that she was going to leave me at any minute, I started using dating apps as a contingency plan for when that happened. I didn't feel the love or connection anymore and so desperately wanted to feel wanted again. I never hooked up with anyone, but I know I was wrong for even entertaining other people that weren't my wife. I should have tried to make it work, but I didn't know how. The arguments were worse, the hurt was building when I needed the opposite. This past winter was like the Great Depression, the only emotion I could feel was sadness. Not feeling loved, and not knowing my purpose. So I pushed her away even more. I told her I wanted to separate and go live with my parents to figure out what I truly wanted. In July, I found out that she started talking with someone she met at a concert I paid for her to go to. It absolutely broke me. But I can't blame her. She was alone and wanted the attention I was not giving. She felt the hurt of my actions and needed someone to be there for her. This entire time I took her for granted. The most amazing person in the world, and I just pushed her aside like she meant nothing. August came and she filed for divorce. At this point, we had a few conversations about getting back together down the road once we both fully became independent, but I really think it was her not wanting to hurt my feelings. Being the controlling and manipulative person I knew I was looking for any hope that this wouldn't be the end. When I didn't get that, I got angry and it only made things worse. The only way I knew how to protect her and myself was to block her on everything, so I couldn't have the opportunity to reach out. My birthday was this past weekend. Birthdays mean everything to me. She would always decorate our place, make me the best cookies in the world, and even better, get me the most thoughtful gifts. That said, I told everyone around me to forget about it this year as it would be too hard without her there. They did. I cried the entire day. In fact, there's not a night I haven't cried to sleep. Knowing that as much as I may have thought I wanted to be divorced, I really wanted to make it work but took her for granted. She ended up taking the pit bull and I took the doodle. I never got to say goodbye to him. After 10 years, nothing. He didn't get to see his sister one more time either. She's heartbroken. How could someone be so cold to not allow me to see the dog I raised with her? The in-laws. This is the only communication I have with that side. Anytime I ask about the dog, they deflect and divert. This was a family that would answer my calls any time of the day no matter what, and now they can't even answer a question? I am screaming for someone to listen and nobody can hear me. It is the worst feeling in the world. All I want is to work things out, to not lose the person I love the most again. After 10 years of texting daily and talking on the phone, to one day never hearing another word is the most painful thing I have ever had to go through. No closure. No see you later. No I will always love you, nothing. After 10 years all I can think about all day is her. The great memories, the laughs, and the tears. And yet, my brain tells me she hasn't thought about me once. That she has moved on and forgotten. I wish this wasn't true. I just want to wake up from this nightmare. I know I was the problem. I know I have a lot to work on. I do not blame her or hold any resentment. I just selfishly wish this wasn't the end. I want to be able to show her how much she truly means to me and how much I care for her love, as I do her. She is hands down the most caring, selfless, and deeply amazing person I have ever had the privilege of knowing. I just wish I could have said goodbye.